Continue from the previous video. Actually, our square bracket getter function we didn't finish yet, right? So that's why here we need to have a for loop. If the value key equal to the key and is in use, we will return the value. Otherwise, we return the default value. But what is the condition for our for loop? Should we do size or we do cap? Okay, we need to be careful. Actually, this one, our condition is cap. Okay, so that's very important. Let me use the red. Okay, you need to be careful. The condition, the for loop will be kept for all this assignment for the array implementation. Why? Because you see here, because your bool, each node you have your in-use bool. So that's why even you try to use the size, right? But you may skip couple not in used node. So that's why all the for loops, they should be the cap. So this one is our square bracket getter function. So one thing is I want to finish all the getter function first. So this one is for the square bracket getter, right? So we return the value v. Okay, so this one, yes, let me finish all the getter function first. So that's why let me save this one. So because this one later I need to change become the setter function. So let me leave the square bracket set getter here. So let's continue, we do the next getter function. So the next getter function actually is the content key. So the content key, we will return bool. So that's why here will become the content key. Contents key. So this one, the same thing, they will pass in the key to searching for. So you can see here, actually for all the square bracket getter setter, content key or delete key, all those four functions, they all need to go over a for loop, right? But one thing is when we do the content key, we need to go over the for loop for I equal to 0, I less than the cap. So the same thing, I still using the index I for the array. So I searching for this node key equal to the key or not. And also don't forget, you need to check the in use or not. So here, if this one is for the content key, right? I find the key. So actually, I don't return the value. I will return true. Because this one is for the bool data type. So the same thing. If I find the value, I will return true. But if after I finish this for loop, I finish the for loop, I didn't return anything, that means the key didn't find. So that's why I just return false. So this two is our two getter function. So the getter function actually is quite easy to do. So don't forget, you can pause the video. Otherwise, I will just keep moving for in this video because you can pause. So I will just continue. So if you have any question, please write it down. We will go over that during the Zoom meeting on Thursday. So we finished two getter function. Let's do the next two. How about the setter function? So when we have the content key is getter, how about do the delete key now? If I try to pass in the key, but now if I find the key, I need to delete this key. So how should we do that? Right, you still need to go over the for loop. So if you go over the for loop, if you find the key, right? So if the key is find, okay, so then what you do? Actually, this one is a void function, right? So that's why we return nothing. So we don't return anything. Instead, we do what? If you find the key and this key is in use, so now I need to delete that, right? But actually in array, we are not really delete that. Actually, we just make this location, I find that. So I delete that. Actually, I just make this node in use become false. So this one actually I made this node become a whole. So that's how I delete key in the array. So if I find that I make that node in use equal to false. But if I didn't find that, yeah, you didn't find the key, you just do nothing. So that's the setter function for the delete key. Okay, you good? Okay, so let me move the delete key here. Okay, so actually here we finished almost everything. So now the next setter function, what we need to do is our square bracket setter function. So how should I do the square bracket setter function? Okay, so the square bracket setter function, the same thing, I need to try to find that. If I find that the key and that's in use, so then I just need to return the node value. So then you see, because I passing by the reference, so that's why they will assign the value. However, if I didn't find that, what should I do? Yes, if you didn't find that, actually you need to find the next not in use one to try to assign the value, right? You see here, if you didn't find the key, actually you are not return a dummy or anything. You need to give the next not in use node. So then we will assign the value to there. So how should we find the next not in use one? Actually, when you do this one, you already have the first not in use one. Don't you agree? When the first beginning, when we go over the for loop, we possibly already go over some nodes they are not in use. So that's why here actually we need to do two parts. So the first thing, I need to have a new value called unused index. But this index I will set equal to cap first. So then when we go over the for loop, right? Okay, so this one, the for loop, actually I don't do the end and the end. Okay, so actually we need to remove this one first. So inside the for loop, actually we need to add more condition now. Actually we will skip, okay? So this one, actually we need to add one more condition. When I get into to check the key is if my values I is in use, that in use is equal to true. Okay, if that equal to true, right? So then I get into here to check if the key is equal to the key. If the key equal to the key, right? So then I will just return the value. Okay. However, if this in use is false, that's wonderful. So that's why here we need to update the unused index key. Right? So you see, if that's in use, right, I continue to check the key. But if not, actually, I just need to update the first one. The first not used in use the node, I need that. So how do I know that's the first one? Because if my unused index, if they are equal to the cap, right, that means I never been updated yet. So that's why in this situation, so then my unused index equal to I. Okay, so that's why here, after this for loop, I will either check is this for loop. I will either check if that in use or not. If this in use, the first one is not in use, I will update my unused index. That's the reason I set to the cap at the beginning. So then if that in use, I just find if the key is match the key, I return the value. So that's why you see after I finish this for loop, right? What I need to do is I just need to check if this unused index still equal to the cap, right? Then that means the next available key, a next available node I need to add, that's at the cap. So actually I don't have enough zoom. So that means I need to resize my array. So if the unused index equal to the cap, so that's why I need to call the cap. Remember the capacity function, we need to make our cap double. Okay, so then we have our cap already, right? So that's why you need to add your new node. Okay, so then here we make our new node. So after we resize, we need to make our new node since we already know the location. So that's why here you see this location key equal to the key. So this location in used should be equal to true. Okay, so this one size I need to plus. So then at the end, right, I return this one dot value. So this one is our square bracket setter function. Okay, so I know that's a little ugly, but also actually all these things you can find that in our reading assignment reading. Okay, but here I just want to show you really how they look like. So that's why all the two getter function, two setter function, they all need to go through the for loop. But if that setter function you didn't find the key, you need to check which one is the first unused index. If the capacity not enough, you enlarge capacity. So then after you find that location, you need to just assign the value for the key. So then in use equal to true. So don't forget the important thing size plus. Oh yeah, so that's why, because here you have size plus, right? Good. So actually earlier our setter function delete key, besides you make this one the value in use equal to the false. So don't forget here, right? So here actually size need to decrement. So don't forget the size. So size only increment in the square bracket setter, only decrement in the delete key setter. Okay, so actually the clear function you will know well. Actually the clear function, you just need to make the size equal to 0, and you go over each node to make the in use equal to false. So then your copy constructor assignment operator, I know you can do that, so I will leave that for you. So the only thing we didn't talk about is for the keys getter function, because we never try to use this one. So I want to show you how we will do that. So remember this getter function, we just need to create a queue. So that's why here you need to create a queue. So this queue data type is according to the key. So then we can just say this one is key queue. Okay, so the same thing, this one, the same thing, you still need to just go over the cap, okay, for the for loop. But this one, I don't need to worry about the key. So actually this one is, we just need to check if each node when we access, if that's in use, right? Good, if that in used, so that's why we will push that key. So we need to push that key into our key queue. So we call push. So this one is, you will push that node key into the queue. So after you finish this for loop, right? So we just need to return this key queue. So you will see here, actually we will return a copy. So that's why even here is the static object, but after they return, they will return a copy. So then we will have that. So that's your array implementation.